Hello and welcome to the Fulhamish YouTube channel. My name is Don Betts, and on today's video we're looking ahead to Sunday's clash away at Crystal Palace. And joining me once again is Diyar from Back of a Nest. How you doing, mate?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here. Oddly enough, I'm actually looking forward to this game. After the result that we had last time around. So yeah, I'm good. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, if we look at actually the reverse fixture to start off with, obviously when we came into it, obviously we had our very poor start to the season. We didn't get the defenders in we needed, and we conceded quite a lot of goals. And it was a fairly big game for us. You guys were sort of scared of getting sort of dragged into a season-long relegation battle, so it was a big win for you guys. How would you summarise your season since that game?
This season just feels completely different as a Palace fan. I mean, we've still got Roy Hodgson. That's that manager side of things. He's still there. But in terms of results, it hasn't quite felt the same. This season we've had some odd results, such as losing 7-0 to this Liverpool side, who are not on the level they were in previous seasons, which we never struggled this badly against. We lost 3-0 to Villa, who they managed to score majority of their goals when they had 10 men. It's been a long, dragged-out season for Palace fans. And in a way, I am looking forward to the season ending because it's just mediocre. I don't think we are a top six club, but some of the football that we played and some of the results that we got, we should be doing better at this stage after surviving so long in the Premier League. And, it's frustrating, but I'm used to it at this point. And luckily enough, I've been busy this year, so I haven't spent all my energy on Palace. And if I did, I'll lose my mind because it can be very frustrating at times watching this team play.
Yeah, coming from a neutral perspective, obviously your win against Brighton. Do you think that means you guys are safe now?
Before the Brighton game, I was actually worried because I was looking at the fixture list, and towards the end of the season, we've got some hard games coming up. And if we didn't win that Brighton game and, this game, which is going to be a struggle as well, then I feel like there would have been a relegation battle for us, and it would have been really dumb of us to say, well, we're safe with Crystal Palace. It doesn't work like that. But I feel like after that Brighton win, I feel like we will have enough points to survive, and we'll pick up points as well along the way. Roy loves picking up, an odd result here and there. So yeah, I feel like we're comfortable at this stage. But then again, Dom, the season is done. And the season was done even before the Brighton game, pretty much. So it's like, what are we playing for? Because Roy said that be careful for being too over ambitious. And I don't know what his ambitions are, but as Palace fans, yeah, we're just gonna go and drag it on to the end of the season. But what for?
Obviously, everyone knows how poor your run of results are without Wilfried Zaha. Why do you think that is? Do you think it is because there is no one sort of to drag the ball from defence to attack, or what do you think it's down to? The reason why you guys seem to perform so badly without Wilfried Zaha?
Well, look, Wilf, he is a club legend. He is that main man going forward for us, and I feel like at times he's very underrated. But I think the main reason is you can say Wilf isn't there, and that's why we're not picking up results. But I think it's down to tactics. We play as we do, like without Wilf, like he's in the side. It doesn't work. We try to play counter-attacking football with players who hasn't got pace, and it's just like watching players run at 5 miles per hour, just running slow motion towards it. It's not going to work. And I feel like that plays a big part to it. And we miss Jeffrey Schlupp as well. So when you don't have pace in the side, and when you're trying to still play the counter-attacking football without, Wilf or Schlupp, it's not going to work. And that's why we've struggled so far. And when you're looking at the last game against Brighton, we've managed to get a result, but I don't know if we'll talk about it. But it was a smash and grab, and I don't mind it because it's against them. But the performance there was, especially the second half, was quite worrying once again.
Yeah, that's the one thing with this Palace team. I felt that if a team gets an early goal against you without Wilfried Zaha, you don't look like you have too much to try and get back into the game. So looking ahead to obviously Sunday's game, do you think that is a sort of way in for Fulham if they're looking trying to get a result, is get an early goal? Because that's when Palace seem to not necessarily not know what to do, but they seem to find it hard to get back into the game.
Yeah, and talking about early goals, I just remembered before the Brighton game, we conceded, I think, 3 or 4 games in a row where we conceded in less than 10 minutes. So going into this game, our main focus was just simply not to concede. We conceded 2 against Burnley within 10. We conceded against Newcastle in the first minute. we've struggled. We've struggled with early goals, and thankfully against Newcastle, because they've been struggling as well, we managed to get back into the game. But against you guys, I think if you score an early goal and the way that you guys play, with the confidence that you will have, I think it will be a massive struggle. So I think the key for you guys in this game is to go out there from the first minute and pressure us and go at us with your attack. And if you get that early goal, that is going to have a massive factor, which I don't know. Maybe if Wilfried's in the side, maybe we'll cope with it a bit better. But if Wilf's not playing, then it's pretty much game over for Palace. We just lose all confidence, lose all belief in the team that we can go and get another goal, and yeah, it's done. It's simple as.
With Zaha, is it? So what is the latest? Is he back in training? It's just not sure whether he's going to be playing on the weekend, whether it will come too soon.
Well, he's been back in the training ground, running around before the Brighton game. So he's been there about, which is quite incredible considering it was a hamstring injury and it happened so recently. But for this game, I'm not too sure. I have a feeling that he might potentially be back. Roy clearly didn't want to risk him for the Brighton game, but he hasn't really said anything. Of course, we're talking a bit early, so I don't know if in his press conference if he's going to talk about it, but he could potentially be back. I have belief that he might be, or if Roy doesn't risk it, he might, because we've got so many, as I said, so many tough fixtures coming up after you guys. Roy might just not want to risk it against you lot, and then maybe keep him in the games which we will desperately need him. So I'm not too sure. I think it's a 50-50 at this stage, but hopefully he does play. I think we need him against you guys. And I'll be honest, where you're sitting right now on the table, I don't think it's a clear reflection come out at the end of the season. I'm not even saying this because I'm on the channel. I'm just saying this because I genuinely believe that you'll be out the relegation battle and that you're playing some good football. And I feel like you deserve it as well.
And if we're looking at sort of, this Palace team now, you've got the win against Brighton. I think that puts you 10 points clear of us guys, and that was a massive 3 points in regard, because if you lost the Palace game, then you lost to us. I think we'd only be 4 points behind you guys, and you'd be dragged right into the battle. Do you think, because of that win, are you worried that there might be some complacency in this Palace team, that the guys will feel a bit sort of on the beach, as some people say, and do Palace fans worry about that for the last sort of 10-15 games of the season?
Well, I feel like when the job needs to get done, these players do turn up. Against the Brighton game, we sent them a message. I think there was a ban outside the training ground because it was just getting ridiculous watching us play. We lost 3-0 against Burnley. With all due respect, Burnley, I think Burnley didn't even expect to score 3 goals against us. And they absolutely dominated us. And we have sat on the beach in loads of games this season. But I feel like when the job really matters, these players hopefully will turn up. But in the Fulham game, I'm not too sure. They wasted a lot of energy in the Brighton game, I think physically and mentally as well, because they knew the pressures of it going into the game. And in the Fulham game, I guess we'll see what type of Palace side turn up, because I love the attitude. That's the main thing coming out of that Brighton game. Yes, we got the result, but the attitude was there. We was focused for the entirety of 90 minutes. Some of the players who haven't been performing in that game. So in this game, if they keep it up, maybe they can get belief as well, saying that, you know what? Yes, we're 10 points above relegation zone, but we could slightly look up if we get a result against Fulham. So hopefully the players have that belief in their head and do perform. But with this Palace side this season, as I've said, Dom, you don't know what to expect. It can be a Palace side who turn up against Brighton, or can be Palace side how we played against Burnley. It just depends on the mind frame going into this game and how motivated they are. So with Palace, do you think there is any sort of aims for the rest of the season now? Do you think they will try and push for even a top 10 finish at the highest, or do you think they understand they're safe now? It's all about sort of trying to build for next season. I think this is where majority of Palace fans get frustrated, because I think we are safe, and I think the club do realise that. And naturally, with the players and Roy Hodgson, you would expect them to be focusing up the table. As I said, we are 10 points off the relegation zone, but we're also not too far off the top 10 as well. But whether we can have that momentum going throughout the season and stay 100% focused, I'm not too sure. I feel like realistically, the position that we're in now is a position that we'll end up in come end of the season. I think we'll stay up, but I don't think we'll go and push forward, because Roy said it. He believes that we're being over ambitious by saying that, we should have more than 2 shots a game or two or one shot, more than one shot on target at half. You know, he looks at the basics and he feels like the position that we're in is great. That's what he basically suggested. So I feel like we'll just remain where it is. When you have a manager who's unmotivated himself in terms of pushing upwards and all of the rest, I don't think it's going to go on to the players. And you're asking an awful lot from the players to be motivated themselves. So yeah, I think mid-table-ish. I think that'll be our position end of the season. But if we finish top half, that'd be great.
When it comes to Hodgson and Palace, do you think this is his last year, or do you think he's still going to be your manager come next season?
I pray to God it's not last year. Look, Roy's done a brilliant job, Dom. And when he first joined us, we didn't score for seven games and he kicked us up comfortably. But the problem is we have no identity. You know, I don't know what direction we're heading in as a club. We built a new academy facility, but Roy decides to have rather 7 players on a bench then put academy players there because he basically said that he's not going to give them a chance. So we're not on the same page there. We've got, you know, players who maybe deserve more chances, which Roy's not. So I feel like he has to move on. And Palace fans, I think Steve Parish will be a crazy man to keep Roy Hodgson for another year because Palace fans have been way worse than me in terms of they're just saying, I can't watch this week in, week out. And that, I guess, if you're Fulham fan watching this, you must be thinking you spoiled, you know, you lot are so spoiled, etc. But it is so boring watching us play. And I think Steve Parish is a Palace fan as well. So come end of the season, we've been linked with Eddie Howe, Sean Dyche. And, you know, I think Eddie Howe will most likely be at Palace. And I'll be surprised if Roy's there because he's not on the same page as we are. We need an identity, which we haven't got right now at Palace. We're just surviving. But one of these seasons, I think next season, if Roy's at the club and if Wilf leaves, 100% we are getting relegated. It is as simple as that because Wilf has saved us single-handedly this season. We've been Zaha FC.
What do you think is the next step? Let's say Eddie Howe does come into Crystal Palace or even just the new manager comes into Crystal Palace. What do you think is the next step? Is it trying to push for sort of top 10 and try and sort of build yourself? So I'm not saying you can have a season that West Ham have had this season because no one could have expected that. But is it sort of just the next step and making sure you're a team pushing for top 10 as a team who's sort of just staying up each season?
I think with the Eddie Howe situation, if he comes, for example, at the end of the season and where he's here for next season, I don't think it's going to be a case of Eddie Howe's here. Well, for me personally, and let's go finish top 7 or it has to be top half or Eddie Howe's sacked. I feel like first and foremost, we need to have a plan. It doesn't seem like we have a plan. We tried to bring in a couple of youngsters who tried to, you know, like Ebrici Eze, who's been significant for us. Nathan Ferguson, who hasn't played for us yet because of his injury. We've got Mitchell on his side as well. So we've got a couple of youngsters, but I feel like we need to have an identity. What are we doing as a football club? That's the first and foremost most important thing. We've got Cat 1 Academy. So Eddie Howe, is he going to play the academy players? Then fine, let's do that. But in the long run, yes, I want to see Palace be a top 10 club because we've been here 7-8 years. But next season, I just want, you know, Eddie Howe to settle and for him to actually get the players that he wants. This is if he was to join. So no, I'm not being over ambitious saying we should be finishing top 6 or top 10, for instance, as well for next season if we were to get a new manager. I just want us to have an identity. I want us to have a plan, which we seem like we haven't got right now. We're just hinging on surviving year after year after year, which is not going to be sustainable in the long run.
And if we look ahead to the game, obviously on Sunday, what are Palace fans' thoughts about this sort of game? Is it a game where obviously you're winning against Brighton, they want to look at getting the 3 points, go on a run towards the end of the season, or is it sort of right, we're up now? This game's just one more game until we can move on to next season?
We are emotionally drained. I'll tell you that. We are emotionally drained from the Brighton game. I'm not exactly too sure how we're feeling going into this game. I'm not really too sure myself as well. Look, but if we were to lose that Brighton game or if we were to get a point out of it, then I feel like we'll be way more focused saying we need to go and try to get 3 points against you guys. It'll be massive. But right now, I think going against Fulham, against you guys, I feel like if we get a point, I think it'll be a solid job if you put in a performance as well. But yeah, as I've said, the Brighton game just the fact that we scored a 95-minute winner and only had I don't know if you know this, but we only had 2 touches in the box the whole game, and both of them touches led to goals. So exactly, it was that type of game, and we got absolutely lucky. So if we get a point out of the Fulham game, and then maybe we can focus. But this week has been, it's been crazy after what we just saw. So a draw will be happy.
Yeah. So if you look at how sort of Burnley played against you guys, and obviously you spoke about how sort of poor that was. What do you think are the areas that Fulham should be looking to exploit in this Palace team?
Well, it depends on who's playing. If Patrick Van Aanholt is playing, then that is one player that you should be targeting, and teams have been targeting. Luckily, Tyreek Mitchell, he came in against Brighton, but he just cannot defend. I just don't understand. Like, his positioning and everything. Defensively, he's lost, and it's hard having a left back who can't defend because teams just target you. But I feel like, the main thing is if you pressure us, if you show a bit more, if you go into the game with high tempo, because as I said, Burnley looked like prime Barcelona against us, and I haven't seen Burnley play like that all season long. So I think it's more of a mentality issue. If you go at us with the intention that you're going to win all the second balls and you're going to be on the front foot, then that was our main weakness in a Burnley game. And in a Brighton game, luckily we defended a bit better, but targeting our defense this season, which under Roy Hodgson, you'd think that would have one of the best defense in the league, but we got one of the worst defensive records in the league. So balls into the box, running at us with full pace, I think that's what will cause us trouble.
And if you're looking at players in this Fulham team who you think can cause you the most damage, which players do you think Palace will be most worried about coming up against?
I'm not picking only one player. I can't. I feel like that'd be disrespectful. I think looking at this Fulham side, Lookman, for example, I feel like he's just kicked on at Fulham. He's a threat. Josh Majo that you guys also got up front. We were linked with him, but Roy Hodgson, I think when asked about it, said that he didn't even know about him. And Harrison Reed. I think I had to pick them 3 players. I feel like going forward, you have got some, dangerous players there. And Harrison Reed was also linked with us in the summer as well. I think Palace wanted him, and he's solid in midfield, putting in the shift. So you've got some solid players, and I feel like this game is going to be completely different to the game that we saw earlier on in the season when we faced you. You've found your stride. You got some new players, and it seemed like Scott Parker and the players are actually. You guys have belief. I said it as well. I feel like you guys have belief, and going into this game, I'm expecting a completely different Fulham side. I'm expecting a Fulham side who's going to be more dangerous going forward, and also more solid defensively as well. I think them 3 players stand out for me.
And if we're looking at the Palace team, and who I understand without Wilfried Zaha, you have been quite poor, but we saw, as we've been speaking about, you get the win against Brighton the other night. Which sort of players or which sort of group of players do you think in this Palace team, do you think Fulham, obviously, bar if Wilfried Zaha comes in, should be sort of most worried about?
It's a hard one. It depends on who really plays. If Wilf isn't playing, then I guess up front, if it's still Jan Philippe Mateta, which we got from Mainz, he scored that was his first goal for Palace, and he scored a brilliant goal. He's got massive confidence in himself, and he's a striker up front. He's quite big as well. I think that's one player that you should be watching out for. And also Jordan Ayew. It depends on how he's feeling, but he's actually performed decently in the last couple of games for Palace. So he's got an assist against Brighton as well. So if Wilf isn't playing, then I guess them 2 players and Jairo Riedewald in midfield, who's a young centre midfielder, very composed on the ball. I feel like he's very underrated by even Roy Hodgson, who hasn't really played him all of the games that he should have this season. So them 3 players, if Wilf isn't playing, will be key, but especially Riedewald in midfield, because he can be dangerous.
And so if we look at sort of the teams who are going to be playing on Sunday, what sort of team lineup are you expecting from Roy Hodgson? Are you expecting many changes from the Brighton game?
Nah, Roy doesn't really like that many changes. And I feel like it would be, of course, if Wilf is back, Wilf will come into the lineup. But I'm expecting Vicente Guaita in goal. And at right back, he'll be Joe Ward or Nathaniel Klein. Maybe that area he could change, because we've got healthy competition there. But at centre half, Kouyaté and Cahill will, 90% sure they will start alongside Mitchell as well, because we had a solid defensive performance. And in midfield, it will be Jairo Riedewald, Luka Milivojevic, and also Ebrich Eze. We played a 4-3-3 against Brighton, which was quite weird because normally we play a 4-4-2. And then if we're going with the same system, it'll be Jon Fleet, Jordan Ayew, and Andros Townsend as well as the front three.
And if I can push you for a score prediction for the game, Diyar, what are you going to go with?
Oh, score prediction. It's going to be a difficult game for us. And I was not confident even before the Brighton game. And I know how up you're going to be for this game. And I feel like we just had we had a crazy game on during the week as well. So I'm not too sure how energized the players will be going into this game after that result. But hopefully we can grab something out of it. I'm going to go for a 1-0 draw. No, not 1-0. 1-1 draw. But I feel like Fulham could grab it 2-1 as well. So it depends on if you want my heart or my head result. But yeah, I'll go for 1-0.
Yeah, I think, it's a game that it's just about for us to continue our run. Obviously, a 3 points for us would be great because we've got some tough fixtures coming up after this. We've got the likes of Liverpool. Well, they're not doing that one at the moment, but Manchester City, everyone's winning at Anfield at the moment. Tottenham, who aren't doing great either. But, teams who we can cause you problems, Leeds, Aston Villa. So this is a game for us where we need to just continue our run, really. I mean, I personally think we should be looking to get 3 points. Some people say a point would be fine, but I think, 3 points here would really pile the pressure on Newcastle once again. But thank you very much, Diyar, for coming on the Fulhamish YouTube channel. Do you want to let everyone know where they can find Back of the Nest on YouTube and Twitter and stuff?
Yeah, search Back of the Nest on YouTube and you can find us, Crystal Palace Fan Channel. And also you can go and find us on our social media. But if you're at Back of the Nest, you can go and find us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram as well. But thank you for having me on, Dom.
No, it's been a pleasure as always. As I said, I've been Dom Betts. This has been the Fulhamish YouTube channel. This is our preview ahead of Fulham against Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park on Sunday at midday. You Whites.